Hey fellow animators, I am Miloš Černý. So I have received another 3D character, but instead of just announcing it like the last time, I decided to also do a quick overview of the rig I have received. So stay tuned to learn some tips and tricks. This time it's this lovely Charmander from Guilherme Laug. You can find more of his stuff on Sketchfab in this link, which is also below the video. And of course, like always, you can already download it fully rigged on my website. Again, completely for free, without any requirements from you. Just download and animate. So Guilherme actually did the whole CAD rig and skin by himself, and I have used most of it. But I thought, why not use this opportunity to show you what I have changed and why, and make a kind of a short tutorial out of it. This is meant as more of a theoretical exercise, feedbacking and overviewing the rig, not practical examples of how to do all this. For that you can watch other videos on this channel where I show a lot of step-by-step tutorials explaining all the details. The whole rig was done pretty well, and the point of this video is not to tell Guilherme that he didn't do a good job. It's just to show you guys what I might have done differently if I was doing it. So let's see what we've got here. As I've said, the rig is done pretty well. Pivots of the bones are mostly at correct places. Fingers are done properly. We even have this bone for the belly here, which works great. There are some things though I would like to see done a bit differently. Let's start with the pose it has been modeled into. There aren't many issues. For example, the tail is not modeled straight, which is usually the best way to do it, but in this case, this is his default state of the tail, so it doesn't matter that much. What I really don't like, however, is that the arms are modeled rotated already. The way I would like to see them is rotated like this. And the reason for it is pretty simple. If you want to pose the arms into any kind of resting position, you have to rotate them first, which creates these unnecessary deformations right from the start, for almost every single pose you will do, which is not great and could have been avoided easily. But other than that, the model is nice. Let's take a look at the rig. Again, most of it is cool. Tail is alright, pelvis, belly, spine seem okay too. The chest I would probably do as a bigger bone here. Basically to take place for this spine bone and have one less spine bone. But it would actually make only a small difference, so I will keep it like this anyway. Arms are fine, maybe I will just move the elbow a bit higher. Head is done as a spine bone chain, which is fine and will work for a short neck like this. I feel like I'm mentioning this in almost every video, but I like to do the head together with neck with a tailbone chain and not a spine, because it gives me better control for all the neck bones. However, that's mostly needed only for longer necks, and this one is pretty short, so I will keep it as it is, with a small change. And that is removal of one neck bone and moving the head pivot a bit. There is no need for two neck bones for a short neck like this, even though it would still work fine. What I don't like is the position of the jawbone. There's no reason for it to start here. It should cover the whole jaw like the model suggests. The bone should start somewhere here. The other thing I don't like are the legs, especially the ankle, which I will move further up, somewhere here. And also this joint, which is placed outside the leg. However, it's not that simple here. You might think that it's completely wrong because it's outside, but in this case it might actually help. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but because this leg will be almost always bent a little, it's not that bad. If you try to stretch the legs as much as possible, you can see that the deformations are actually good, and this ball here at the back gets stretched pretty nicely. So good points for Guilherme there. But what is wrong is if we look at it from the side, this placement here. It needs to be moved more into the model. Okay, but overall the rig is pretty cool. Let's see how it looks after the changes have been made. Here's the rig with all the issues taken care of. Like I've said, I have mostly focused on legs, head, the jawbone and elbow joint. The neck is now simplified and the jaw starts much further back. I have moved the elbow and did several changes to the legs. You can see that this leg joint is not outside the leg anymore, but pretty much at the back, and it works great. Ankle is moved further up, and I have also changed the position and the size of the IK platform to be more in the middle of the foot. Now let's take a look at the skin, which is actually where the majority of the issues were. I will go through most of them one by one with screen-by-screen comparison, so you can see what I changed and how it looks like after the change. I believe the skin was done mostly just by using the voxel weight solver, which is often a good start, but usually also requires some manual changes, so don't rely just on one-click solutions. The jaw was probably not skinned at all, so I had to do it from scratch. By the way, because the bone was not placed as far back as it should, you can see what effect it would have on the former skin. It would deform the jaw only from that pivot point further. And even though the skin is not done there, you can probably imagine that even if it would, the jaw would still look bad, because its pivot wasn't placed right. After the fixes, the jaw is opening nicely as a whole, like it was modeled. The head was quite alright, but before it was deforming also these side parts, which should be only on the head. And I also did few fixes for the neck, but nothing too big. The difference for the tail can be seen mostly at the beginning where it meets the pelvis. I did however refine it as a whole, but even after refinements, it's still kind of hard to get a straight line out of it. That's why it's usually better to model the tail in straight out position, in case you need to straighten it when animating. It's easier to bend straightened tail than straight out already bent tail. For the elbow, I made the transition sharper to not look as rubbery as it was. For the palm, however, it's less visible because we also have to think about twisting the palm. If we did the same thing here as for the elbow, without twist bones, the transition might look too sharp. The arm was the biggest problem, because like I have said, it would be better if it has been modeled rotated down. It was pretty hard to get something decent done with the skin, but I tried my best to make it work. Of course, in some cases where it needs to be twisted too much, it will not look good. The upper arms with collarbones are usually the hardest parts to skin in general, because of how flexible the upper arm joint is. Anyway, you can see that before, the arm was affecting much larger area than it was supposed to. Even the parts of head and spine below, so I have reduced those. For legs, I mostly refined the ankle, heel and area around the pelvis. After the refinements, the upper leg affects much smaller area and doesn't deform belly, pelvis or spine. The ankle has much sharper transition. And also the heel doesn't lose its volume anymore, because it's all weighted on the ankle bone and not split between calf and ankle. And that covers all the difficult areas I wanted to show you. Remember to always check your skin after you apply it or after you use the voxel weight solver. You will need to do some manual fixing almost every time. And also, if you are modeling the character as well, think about its pose and try to model it in the most default state possible, to avoid some issues we have experienced here as well. Best of luck! I'm Miloš Černý, thank you for watching and enjoy the model.